ever felt like speaking English is just exhausting? You start your day full of energy, but then after a few conversations, you are absolutely dead. You're constantly searching for the right words, you're focusing on your pronunciation, and then you're worrying if people understand you. It's a constant battle, and then you're left asking yourself, how can I make speaking English feel more natural, more comfortable, and just simply less tiring? I'm Ben Latour, and since 2017, I've been helping non-native English speakers become clear, natural, impactful, and confident communicators in English, using the same strategies that I use to learn 5 languages and pass for a native speaker in under 3 months. I've helped over 100 clients achieve the same results in the last 3 years. Now let's break down why speaking English can feel like such a drain. Now the first thing to understand is that when you speak with a strong accent that's not adapted to English, your mouth physically has to work harder. You're using muscles in ways that they're not accustomed to. So in your native language, your mouth is trained to move in a certain way, and it has become effortless. But when you speak English, especially with certain sounds that aren't common in your native tongue, you're actually pushing your mouth to work differently. For example, English has the sounds like think, that, or the R like red, really, which require specific movements that aren't present in a lot of different languages. So if your mouth isn't used to making those sounds, it's kind of like running a marathon without training. It's absolutely exhausting. And that's just the physical side of things. But then there's the mental load. Because when you're speaking, you're not just thinking about what you want to say, you're also thinking about how to say it. Is my pronunciation correct? Do they understand me? Am I going to make a mistake? This constant self-monitoring adds a huge amount of mental strain, especially if you don't know what you're doing. It's like your brain is running 2 tasks at the same time, trying to communicate and also trying not to mess up, plus worrying about whether you're going to mess up. On top of that, you might also be worried about understanding the other person clearly. You're listening, but in the back of your mind, you're thinking, did I catch everything they said? It's a constant juggling act of speaking, listening, and then worrying. No wonder it's so exhausting. But just like marathon training, you can actually build endurance and reduce that strain by focusing on the right exercises. When you work on your pronunciation, your vocabulary, and your expressions in a targeted, specific way towards a specific goal, you can actually make much faster progress. And the key is to train your mouth to adapt to English sounds in a way that feels natural and effortless. For example, when you practice sounds like or you're training your mouth muscles to move in new ways. Over time, these movements become automatic, just like they are in your native language. And when you stop worrying about how you sound, you can actually focus more on what you're saying, so that frees up mental space, making conversations feel less like a chore and more like a natural flow. Let me give you an example from one of our clients. So Julian is a French salesperson who moved to the US, and in his job, he actually had to attend a high-stakes conference in Las Vegas. So he was speaking English all day long in both professional and casual conversations, and by the end of the day, he would have been completely drained because his strong French accent made speaking feel like a marathon without proper training. And his mouth wasn't adapted to the sounds of English. So it would have been physically exhausting, plus the mental effort of juggling the stress, trying to sound clear and hoping people understood him. But together, we actually worked on physically training his mouth to move more like a native speaker's. We focused on the specific vocabulary and expressions that he would need for that conference. We even prepared for the questions he might get asked and how he might respond. And then by the time Julian went to the conference, he was prepared. The questions were just natural. The result? By the end of the conference, Julian had actually secured several high-profile meetings. Now, when he meets with clients, whether it's in person, on the phone, Zoom, whatever, it's no longer stressful for him. He knows he's easy to understand, he doesn't have to worry about how he sounds, and then speaking English just isn't exhausting for him anymore. It's something that he does with confidence, knowing he can focus on the conversation instead of his pronunciation, or whether people understand him, whether it's natural, or if he sounds weird. Now, if you're feeling that same exhaustion when you speak English, but you don't know where to start, we can help. We'll take a close look at your specific situation, assess your goals, and figure out exactly where you should focus your energy to make the biggest difference. So whether it's your pronunciation, your vocabulary, or how you structure your sentences, will help you unlock that natural flow so that speaking becomes easy. You just have to book a call with us and we'll actually point you in the right direction. Now, it's important to remember that your mouth is capable of adapting to anything. Now, just like you would train different muscles for a sport, you can train your mouth to produce English sounds in a way that feels comfortable. The more you practice the right sounds with the right feedback, the more effortless it becomes. Instead of speaking English feeling like a marathon, it actually just feels natural, like second nature, just like in your native language. Remember, you don't have to struggle through every conversation, worrying about how you sound. With the right strategies, you can build confidence. You can communicate clearly, and then speak all day without feeling drained. Just like Julian, you can get to a point where English conversations are smooth and stress-free. So if you want to make that happen, just follow this channel for more. Honestly, we're happy to help you, and